Calvin Ridley was a 5-star recruit, one of the best receivers in Alabama history, a first-round pick, and had already established himself as one of the best receivers in all of the NFL. He was living the dream, and things couldn't have got too much better. If he played his cards right, he could have arguably been one of the highest-paid wide receivers in NFL history. At the high school level, he dominated. At the college level, he dominated. And in the NFL, even though he was young, he was already dominating that league too. But overall, one of the best things about him and why many people loved him and he had a ton of fans is because he was a humble star. When you brought his name up or talked about him, you didn't think of a guy who had off the field problems. He appeared and seemed like the perfect wide receiver that almost any franchise would want. Very likable guy, coachable, quiet, and oh yeah, we can't forget to mention and throw in there, he's great at football. But however, unfortunately, with all those great things being said, in this past year, to say his football career has gone downhill fast may just be an understatement. It's also gotten so bad and to the point where many people also think his life is heading in the wrong direction. In this most recent season in 2021, he didn't seem like himself, and after only playing 5 games for the team, he announced he was going to step away. At the time, it didn't seem like too big of a deal, and they labeled it as mental health problems. Nobody knew exactly what was going on. Like I said, we're just going to label it as mental health issues. We can't lie though, and I'm not going to ignore the fact that one of the best receivers in all of the world stepped away from the game he loves. That right there alone is odd, and even if you do have stuff going on in your life, you don't see that every day. If you're an athlete, I'm sure you relate to this, a lot of times playing your sport can actually take your mind off of things. To make matters even worse, it was announced earlier today, and I'm going to tell you what, this was beyond shocking to me, that the NFL stated that Calvin Ridley is suspended for the entire 2022 season. Why was he suspended? I'm sure most of you know this, but if you don't know, he was betting on games, and that is a big no-no. Look, I get it, you may not think it's a big deal, but when it comes to the NFL, NBA, any sport like that, Major League Baseball, that is one of the biggest and worst things you can do wrong. It doesn't matter if it's the NBA, NFL, or Major League Baseball, they take that very seriously. What makes it all even more interesting, at least in my opinion, is the fact that earlier this year he stepped away from mental problems, and then not too long ago it's announced he's betting on games. Kinda fishy. You don't gotta be a rocket scientist to figure out that most people are gonna put 2 and 2 together and say he has a gambling problem. If he didn't step away from the NFL and he was playing in these games and it was announced he was betting on them, I wouldn't think too much of it. But the fact that he stepped away from football and was betting on it, it does make it fascinating, you can't lie. I just simply don't understand this. If you was a player that's on a $300,000 contract and you know you're not going to make a lot of money, it would make more sense. But the fact that Calvin Ridley has all the money in the world and he could potentially sign a $100 million contract and yet he's betting on games, like, what are you doing or thinking? There is some rumors coming out about, oh, he wasn't betting that much, but that doesn't matter to me. You know if you get caught, you're going to be suspended, so why even do it? It makes it even worse that he's saying and coming out that it was only $1,500. Why would you risk it? I want you to think about this. He literally threw away a $40, $50, or $60 million contract for a $1,500 bet. Could he possibly return to the NFL in the future and come back and sign with a team? Yeah, of course, I'm sure that might happen, but I'm going to tell you right now, no team's going to offer him the money they would have if he wouldn't have gotten this trouble. A lot of people have different opinions about this, but I'm going to tell you straight up, Calvin Ridley ruined his NFL career. It won't, and let me repeat, it won't be the same. He no longer is this golden child. He's no longer a poster board, and he's going to have this bad image of him everywhere he goes from here on out. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let me calm down. I'm getting too amped up and too far ahead of myself. In this video, we're going to take a look at what really happened. This is the rise and fall of Calvin Ridley. What's good, y'all? Real quick, if you like football content and if you just want to help me out, I would greatly appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. If you enjoyed this video, enjoy sports content, hope you guys enjoy. Let's get into it. I believe behind every story, there's a backstory. And to get into this one, we gotta throw it all the way back to where things started. Coming out of high school, Calvin was nothing short of a beast. He was a 5-star recruit, the #1 wide receiver in his class, and he committed and signed with Alabama. I'm not gonna spend too much time talking about his high school career because we know how it goes. These 4- and 5-star recruits, they dominate. When he arrived at Alabama in 2015, this was right after Amari Cooper had one of the greatest years of all time, and everybody was like, man, we're not gonna see another guy like that. And little did they know, Calvin Ridley was right up there with them. If you go off the stats, no, Ridley didn't even come close to what Amari did, but on the field, you could see his talent. As a true freshman for Alabama, let me repeat, a true freshman, he had nearly 90 catches for over 1,000 yards. You can do what you want with this information, but I'm going to leave you with this. Not too many freshmen, let alone freshmen for Alabama, are surpassing 1,000 yards. He was a flat-out stud. He was quick, fast, and he was great at route running, and he almost had for sure hands. After that insane freshman season, everybody knew he was going to leave as quick as possible. He was too good to be playing at the college level. In his next season in 2016, he had 70 catches for 769 yards. I know what you're probably sitting there thinking, yo Matt, why did he have a drop-off? The answer to that is very simple. The quarterback at the time was Jalen Hurts. I love Jalen Hurts, he's a great person, and I love watching him at Alabama, but he's not the best thrower I've ever seen, and you can see that with Calvin's numbers. If you don't have a quarterback who can throw you the deep ball a lot, your yards are going to decrease. At this point in time, though, his stats didn't matter, and in 2017, his last and final season, he had 63 catches for 967 yards. He would eventually declare for the 2018 NFL Draft, where he got selected in the first round by the Atlanta Falcons. Ladies and gentlemen, we are starting to get caught back up with our current date and time. For the Falcons, he had high expectations, but I'd go out on a limb here and say he somewhat surpassed them and shocked some people. His first 2 years weren't crazy, but I'd say they were efficient. He had right at 64 catches and 63 catches for 821 yards and 866 yards. But in 2020, he took off and he solidified himself as one of the best receivers in the league. There's not another way to put it. He had a marvelous season. He had 90 catches for 1,374 yards. At this point in time in our story, things couldn't get too much better. He was improving each and every season, which you like to see in players, and he was still quiet off the field. However, 2021 started to roll around and it didn't go so good. In 5 games played, he only had 31 catches for 281 yards. Shortly after, he announced he was going to step away from football, and like I said at the beginning of this video, nobody thought too much of it. It's worth mentioning he was also dealing with injury problems, and the Atlanta Falcons, they weren't that good anyways. It's not like they were going to compete for a Super Bowl, so everybody was on his side and telling him to rest up. If he would have played for the Falcons, would they have been a little better? Yeah, I'm sure, but I think we can all agree they weren't going to win the Super Bowl. And last time I checked, there's no moral victories in the NFL. It's Super Bowl or bust. On October 31st in 2021, here's what Calvin Ridley had to say. These past few weeks have been very challenging, and as much as I like to be on the field competing with my teammates, I need to step away from football at this time and focus on my mental well-being. This will help me be the best version of myself now and in the future. I want to thank my teammates, the entire Atlanta Falcons organization, our great fans, my friends, and my family for all their support during this time. Calvin Ridley. Is that strange? Is it odd? And are people curious about it? Yes, but even people around Atlanta, Matt Ryan, other players on his team, they didn't say anything about it. They said that's his business and they're going to let it remain his business. Calvin even added this in a different interview, quote unquote, I mean, in today's world, me personally, it shouldn't matter. You should mind your business. So going off of that tweet and everything going on with his mental health problems, whatever it was, he didn't give us too much information, and in my opinion, he shouldn't. That's his business, like he said, but I do also applaud him because at least he gave his fans an explanation. It's not like he said, oh, I'm stepping away from football and didn't give a valid reason. He did that. Fast forward in time to today, the NFL announced that Calvin Ridley will be suspended for the entire season for betting on games. I've been on Twitter and Instagram, and I've seen a lot of mixed reactions. If you guys want to follow me, you can do so. If you want to send me any news like this, it helps out the channel a lot. It's Matt B. Great YT. But anyways, I'm going to give you my take on it. Before I give my opinion or take or anything, I try to put myself in that person's shoes because it also helps. I advise you to do the same thing. So for me, I try to picture it. If I'm Calvin Ridley, I bet $10 on a game and I get banned for a year, yeah, of course, I'm going to think that's extreme. Being banned for a year is a very long time. We're not talking about 6 games, 8 games, but you're missing the entire season. I love Calvin Ridley, and I'm wishing him the best of luck. It's unfortunate, but I gotta be honest, I am with the NFL on this, and here's why. If you don't take harsh precautions like this, and you don't give harsh consequences, gambling will be a big problem if you don't do those things. And by do those things, I'm referring to banning players for a year. Look, man, I'm not gonna sit up here for hours and hours and talk about all the circumstances of, oh, well, he didn't have an effect on the game, this or that, blah, blah, blah. You can feel how you want about it. I'm just telling you, I think they got it right. For those people saying he wasn't playing in the games, well, how about this? What if he called up Kirk Cousins and said, hey, I need you to pass for over 300 yards so I hit this parlay? That's why you can't have gambling. Because let's say Kirk Cousins and Calvin Ridley, they're good friends. That means Kirk's going to try extra harder to get those 300 yards. According to the NFL, they said that Calvin Ridley's betting took place in November when he was not with the team, and there's no evidence that any game was compromised. That's everybody's argument, saying, oh, he's just a normal person betting in the games. But here's what I want you to understand. That's a rule. One of the biggest rules in the NFL, NBA, Major League is that you can't bet on games, and he broke the rule, no matter how you look at it. It doesn't matter if it affected the game or didn't affect the game. He broke the rules, and he knew the consequences. It's not like Calvin knew betting wasn't illegal. He knows it is. But whoa, hold on. We got to update him. Yeah, I'm screaming for a reason, because Calvin Ridley has responded to this and said, I bet $1,500 total. I don't have a gambling problem. Calvin. It pains me to say this. Now, those of you that have been watching this channel, you know I'm an Alabama football fan, so I'm a fan of Calvin Ridley and Henry Ruggs. Why are all these Alabama receivers getting in trouble? I don't know. But it pains me to say this. It doesn't matter if you have a gambling problem or not. Nobody's saying that. What everybody's saying is you broke the rules, man. My biggest advice to you, Calvin Ridley, and I can't believe your manager or whoever hasn't told you this, or if you're just ignoring them, I don't know why, but get off of social media right now. You're only going to hurt yourself and make it worse. The worst thing you can do, and I've seen it time after time, if you get in trouble, is to go to social media. It's just going to make it 10 times worse. There's only one question left. What's next? Where do we go from this? Is this going to be a thing where he only gets banned for a year, comes back, and everything's fine? I don't think so. You know why I don't think so? Because that never happens. Remember with all the stuff with Antonio Brown, he only had one problem, and everybody's saying, oh, he'll come back and be fine. You see it. It just continues to be more and more problems. And I'm not saying Ridley's going to be Antonio Brown, but you see what I'm trying to say. Do I hope he can come back in a year from now and not skip a beat? Yeah, but the chances of that happening, I don't think it's too high. This is a very, and I mean a very fascinating situation, and it's only getting started. Let me know your thoughts down below. Has he ruined his career, or can he come back? Let me know. I messed up my outro. You get what I'm trying to say. I'm out. Y'all subscribe. Let's be great. Peace.